Litam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam daivim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naisthiki. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता आचार्य की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की जय. Word to word synonyms, translations and purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Hare Krishna everyone. So hope everyone is doing well. Although I did not get answers from all the devotees, only Prabhu's answered. I don't know whether you're responding representing your wives. I presume so. But if they are also going to get some information, I think they should also respond. I don't know why this is happening. It's up to you people. No problem. So what we're going to discuss from today onwards, my request is that please keep it confidential. Do not share it with your teams because they are very new, and even other devotees also. Just because you are tutors in our team within Hare Krishna WECAN. So I thought it is good to share some information, realizations, which will benefit all of us in our bhakti. Now, is everybody around? Anyway.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My Prabhuji joining soon.
Okay, I'm starting now, so they can catch up as they want to. All right. So Krishna's amongst all the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Srimad Bhagavatam, where different incarnations of Vishnu are mentioned. Krishna's incarnation and especially his childhood pastimes are considered very important and very prominent. They're very nectarian too. Of course, Krishna's other incarnations, Krishna's personal pastimes are also very important. But childhood are given special significance. So this was the inquiry done by Parikshit Maharaj. Shri Rajo Vacha Yena Vatarena Bhagavan Harir Ishvaraha Karoti Karnaramyani Manognani Chana Prabho Yach Shrunvato Apatyat Ratir Vishna Vitrashna Satvam cha Shuddha Yatya Chirena Pumsaha. Sorry. Yashrunvato Apaitya Aritir Vitrashna Satvam cha Shuddhyati Achirena Pumsaha. Bhaktir Haro Tat Purushe cha Sakhyam Tad Eva Haram Padamanyase Chet. So, in this, there are two verses where this particular significance is mentioned, of which in the second verse, Vitrushna, Yachrunvato Apati Aratir Vitrushna. So, Vitrushna, it means dirty things within the mind that make us uninterested in Krishna consciousness. So, this means that everything that is taking us away from Krishna are all dirty. People are not interested. We were not interested. Now we are somewhat interested. So the somewhat dirty things are gone from our heart. Then Sattvam cha, the existential position in the core of the heart. This is also very significant, this point. Shuddhyati, becomes purified. Achirena, very soon. Umsaha, of any person. Bhakti haro, devotional attachment and service to the Lord. Tat Purushe, with Vaishnavas. Sakhyam, attraction to association. So what happens is this, that when we become serious about understanding Krishna and his pastimes, we hear about him, especially his childhood pastimes, and we hear from the Vaishnavas. So with that attachment, we are attached to the Vaishnavas, you see. And we become friends with them. Sakhyam, attraction to association. And then a very beautiful word is tadeva haram vadamanya se chet. So haram means like a necklace, But here it is mentioned that the activities of the Lord, which should be heard and kept on the neck as a garland. This is very significant. This is how we should hear about Krishna's activities. If we have a very costly necklace, we are going to keep it and use it very nicely. We want to show it to others also. Yeah, we don't show it to anybody, but the biggest costly necklace that we have, our understanding about the activities of the Lord, which we have heard and we have kept in the neck as a garland. Manya say, you think fit, chet, if. So this is a question being raised by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami. And this is how he very humbly requests to hear about Krishna's childhood pastimes. And he convinces the speaker, his guru, Sukadeva Goswami. And he convinces him by saying that it is so important about Krishna's pastimes, which you're going to narrate, that they have to be kept like a garland in the necklace, in the neck, But please, if you think it is appropriate, please only then. If you think it is, if you think it is fit enough, only then you please speak to me. See, whereas Srila Prabhupada has given us the opportunity to hear about Krishna immediately to anybody, and we hear about Krishna when we are sleeping, when we are awake, awake, half asleep, interested, not interested. Like this, we are understanding this. The rapt attention with which Parikshit Maharaj was listening, even if we have some amount of it, it will be of great benefit to us. And then he humbly asks, if you think it is fit enough, please explain. So here King Parikshit said, my lord, Shukadeva Goswami, all the various activities exhibited by the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are certainly pleasing to the ear and to the mind. Simply by one's hearing of these activities, the dirty things in one's mind immediately vanish. Generally, we are reluctant to hear about the activities of the Lord. But Krishna's childhood pastimes are so attractive that they are automatically pleasing to the mind and the ear. Thus, one's attachment for hearing about material things, which is the root cause of material existence, vanishes. And one gradually develops devotional service to the Supreme Lord, attachment for Him, and friendship with devotees who give us the contribution of Krishna consciousness. If you think fit, kindly speak about these activities, those activities of the Lord. This is how he requests. There is no demand, So it's a very nice mood. Now, please, as I said, we will be speaking from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and from other Vaishnava literatures also, scriptures too. Now, in the very, very elevated Prema Vivarta, there's a mention that Krishna Bahir Mukha Hoye Bhoga Vancha Kore, Nikatastha Maya Tare, Jhapatiya Dore. Srila Prabhupada says this, repeats this verse many times, By Srila Jagadananda Saraswati. His only book he has written mentions about this. It's very elevated, very confidential about devotional service. So material existence is Maya or illusion, in which we have so many desires, for material enjoyment. And that's how we get material bodies, different material bodies, as we understand, Brahmyan Sarva Bhutani, Yantarudani Maya. Same thing is mentioned in the fifth canto Srimad Bhagavatam too. Asanapi klesha the asa deha. So as long as we have temporary bodies, they give us many varieties of tribulations. Three of them: Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Daivik, as you all know. So this is the root cause of our suffering. We should understand this. But this root cause of suffering can be removed by the revival of our Krishna consciousness. Simple. You see, all the Vedic literatures written by Vyasadeva and other great sages, they are all intended to revive our Krishna consciousness. And the process to start Krishna consciousness is Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and listening. Shrunumatam swakataha Krishna, punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Rudranta soya bhadrani, Vibhunati Sutsata. Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, second chapter, is mentioned. See, but generally, all such incarnations of the Lord as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, they are not as attractive as Krishna's incarnation. They are all transcendental, all come at different times, different ages, during the days of Brahma, months of Brahma. First of all, we have no attraction for hearing about Krishna. This is the root cause of our suffering. But here, Parishit Maharaj specifically mentions that the wonderful activities of baby Krishna, which amazed Mother Yashoda and all the inhabitants of Vraj, are especially attractive. He says, from the very beginning of his childhood, Krishna killed Putana, Trinavarta, and Shaktasur. And he showed the entire universe within his mouth, small mouth, So thus, these pastimes of Krishna, one after another, they kept Mother Yashoda and all the inhabitants of Vraj in great astonishment. One after the other, something is coming up with Krishna, and they're all astonished. So the process of reviving this Krishna consciousness is first Ado Shraddha, Tatha Sadhu Sangha. So the pastimes of Krishna can be properly received from devotees. Non-devotees cannot give this information. If one has developed even a little bit of Krishna consciousness by hearing from Vaishnavas about the activities of Krishna, one becomes attached to Vaishnavas who are interested only in Krishna. So this is where we are making a mistake. We want to be attached to Krishna directly. That is not correct. This is the correct way Prabhupada mentions. One has to be attached to the devotees of Krishna. Vaishnavas are giving us information, knowledge, like Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, so many other Vaishnavas. Why? Because they are interested only in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj recommends that one hear about Krishna's childhood activities, which are more attractive than the activities of other incarnations, such as Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha. So this is where he wanted to hear more and more from Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj requested him to continue describing Krishna's childhood past activities, which are especially easy to hear and which create more and more inquisitiveness. Why are they easy to hear? They're easy to hear because there is a purpose for which Krishna has appeared, to make it very easy for people to hear, especially his devotees, and make those non-devotees into devotees. Because it is when they hear about, we all hear about these pastimes of Krishna, we will be attracted to him. And this is how we can revive, and the dirty things from our heart goes away. And Krishna's faith is firmly established in our heart. Ado Shraddha. So that's why the word given here is easy to hear activities of Krishna. All other activities are not very easy to hear. And this also creates more and more inquisitiveness. So this is the reason, this is the first starting point of our understanding, the background, before we come to the pastimes of Damodara Lila. Today's class would be the introduction and also setting the mood for this. You see, we all come from different work today, in a day's work, week's work. So many issues are there in our head, in our heart, purified, non-purified. So first, we should be completely wrapped in attention to hear about these activities of Krishna. When we do so, then only, dear devotees, we'll be able to relish this more and more. No doubt, we'll relish this anyways. These are very easy to hear pastimes. But there is a lot of philosophy behind it. That's why keep it confidential. Now, Krishna appears with his set of parents. And here we just come to the point of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Now, devotees who are very, very serious about their bhakti, they glorify the devotees of the Lord. We know this, correct? This point we have understood. In the past, we have read somewhere. But practically, we must understand this. In the Padyavali, there are a set of great verses and chapters of many, many different Vaishnavas through different centuries who have perfected their bhakti to Krishna. And they all this they have prayed to Krishna in particular way, in particular mood. They've been compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. And amongst them, one of them is the glorification of Nanda Maharaj. See, we all want to go to Krishna. And as we go towards Krishna, we must first appreciate why did Krishna choose Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda as the foster parents. Yes, we know they are their parents eternally, but their information after some time doesn't give the rasa, Gives information, gives knowledge, yeah, but why and how? So what does it mean for us? What is the importance of Nanda Maharaj? That is given here. Shrutim apare smrutim itare bhataram anye bhajantu bhavabhitaha aham iha nandanam vande yasya linde param brahma. So, let others study the Vedas, Smruti, and Mahabharata. What is Smruti literature? Can somebody tell me quickly, please? Don't spend so much time. What is the meaning of Smruti literature? Let others study Vedas, Smruti, and Mahabharata. Anybody knows this quickly?
Bhagavatam, Prabhu.
Sorry?
Bhagavatam, Ishopnishad.
Yeah, Smruti means remembrance. So all the Puranas, they are remembrance. That's called Smruti. That's correct. So let others study the Vedas, Smruti, and Mahabharata, fearing material existence. But I shall worship Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard is crawling the Supreme Brahman. Nanda Maharaj is so great that the Parabrahman is crawling in his yard, and therefore I shall worship him. This is the position. This is one of the prayers by great devotees of Krishna. So you may worship anybody, Krishna may worship Krishna, perfect, very good for you. So I'm going to worship Nanda Maharaj, where Krishna became his child and became dependent upon his father. He was crawling on the courtyard. Such a great personality. I'm going to worship him. I worship him. I shall worship him. This is the tone. This is the mood. This is the position of Nanda Maharaj. Now, with this great fortune and with this great position of Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maiya's position is more fortunate than Nanda Maharaj. This is mentioned. Shri Rajo Vacha Nandah Kim Akarod Brahman Shreya Evam Mahodayam Yashoda Cha Mahabhaga. Here it is. Papau Yasyah Stanam Harihi. See here. Again, Parishad Maharaj is inquiring. See, this is not giving information by Shukdev Goswami. This is the information given by the student, which we have to understand. This is so highly qualified student is. He's already liberated. There is giving so much information how devotional service has to be performed. Yeah, we saw asking about Krishna's childhood pastimes. As a student asking his guru. And here he's asking the same thing and mentioning about Yashoda Cha Mahabhaga. So Raja Uvacha. Maharaj Parishad is inquiring, further inquired from Shukdev Goswami. Nanda Kim Akarod Brahman. So Nanda Kim. Nanda means Maharaj Nanda. What Kim means what? Akarod, performed, Brahman, or learned Brahmana. Shreya Evam Mahodayam. Shreya means very auspicious activities, like performing penances and austerities. Mahadayam, Mahaudayam, Mahodayam means Mahodayam, from which they have achieved the greatest perfection. What have they done? Asking. Then he says, the third line he says, asks Yashodacha Mahabhaga. Yashoda means Mother Yashoda. Mahabhaga, most fortunate. Yashoda also is most fortunate. Papau Yasyah Stanam Harihi. Papau means to drink. Pivu. Gujarati you say pivu. Marathi you say pi. Uh, Hindi say Pina, Papao. Papao Yasyaha Sanam Harihi. So the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has drunk her breast milk. So in this one word, he's glorifying Nanda Maharaj and glorifying Mother Yashoda. And putting the position of my Mother Yashoda as Mahabhaga because of the drink being drunk by Krishna from her breast. See, having heard of the great fortune of Mother Yashoda, Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Shukadeva Goswami, O learned Brahman, Mother Yashoda's breast milk was sucked by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What past auspicious activities did she and Nanda Maharaj perform to achieve such perfection of ecstatic love? But they were constantly thinking about Krishna. Now, if these activities are going on, you may say, in their household, where Krishna and Balram are playing, performing activities, naturally they want to think about Krishna. Absolutely right. So that is the reason why this Srimad Bhagavatam is very important. That as we study it, and as we study the interpretations of these great authorities, the great Vaishnava Acharyas, we will get better understanding about their lifestyle. And because of their lifestyle, we can understand what lifestyle they have performed, and we can be attracted by the lifestyle, and we can then perform our activities accordingly. You see? See, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Chatur Vida Bhajante Mam Janaha Sukritino Arjuna. So without Sukriti or past activities, no one can come to the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what it says. The Lord is approached by four kinds of pious men. We know this. What are those? Artho, Jignasur, Artharthi, Jnanicha. So Artho, Jignasur, Artharthi, Jnani. But here we see that Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda surpass all of them. So what is Artho meaning? What is the meaning of Artho? Materially impoverished, a person who's in difficulty. Jignasu, inquisitive. Artharthi, wanting material prosperity, aspiring. Jnani, one who's trying to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These four kind of people come to Krishna. But Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya, they surpassed all of them. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj naturally inquired, what kind of past activities did they perform in their past lives by which they achieved such a stage of perfection? Jignasu, Artho, Artharthi, Gnani will not achieve this perfection, that Krishna will become their child. See? So, of course, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda are accepted as the father and mother of Krishna. Prabhupada is giving more information here. Yet, Mother Yashoda was more fortunate than Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father. Why so? Because Nanda Maharaj was sometimes separated from Krishna, whereas Yashoda, Krishna's mother, was not separated from Krishna at any moment. You see, so Nanda Maharaj, being the king of the Vaishyas, of the whole community, he was a very busy man. He had to decide about so many things. Even if he takes help of his brother also, who suggested to move from Gokul after all these disturbances took place for Krishna. His brother's suggestion. So, Nand Maharaj would also have to go to the court of Kamsa to give him taxes. He'd decide so many things for so many people. Everybody would come and ask for his suggestion, solutions. So for all these activities, he was away from Krishna, doing for Krishna's service only. But here Prabhupada says that because Mother Yashoda was constantly with Krishna, she's more fortunate. She's considered more fortunate. So from Krishna's babyhood to his childhood, and from childhood to his youth, Mother Yashoda was always in association of Krishna. Even when Krishna was grown up, he would go to Vrindavan and sit on the lap of Mother Yashoda. Therefore, there is no comparison to the fortune of Mother Yashoda. And Parishit Maharaj naturally inquired, Yashoda cha Mahabhaga. See, this is the point to be understood. This is how we have to be very, very clever student. Everything has to be told to us and we understand what is the meaning of it, you know. We have to use our intelligence to find out the inner meanings behind things. That doesn't mean, that doesn't demean the position of Nanda Maharaj. You see, whenever Yashoda Maya had to call Krishna and Balaram, stop them from doing their mischief and all, she would take the help of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj are here, please come. They would quietly come. And whenever Nanda Maharaj would ask Krishna, please get my shoes, you know. So Krishna, baby Krishna would go, lift the shoes of Nanda Maharaj, and place Nanda Maharaj's Baba's shoes on his head and walk and bring those shoes and place it at the lotus feet of Nanda Maharaj. And Nanda Maharaj would wear the shoes. This is the position of Nanda Maharaj. So much love and affection Krishna has displayed for him. So far, we have seen among the different pastimes, different incarnations of Krishna, Vishnu, this Lord Krishna's incarnation, baby's form in their incarnation is very attractive amongst all other incarnations. It is very easy to hear. He's stealing of the butter. He's drinking milk from the cows directly. He's sucking the breasts of not only Yashoda Maya, but all other gopis also. Senior gopis also they would do. He would do. How great fortunate they were. Not ordinary living beings. Krishna was stealing butter from them. You know, all these different pastimes as a baby was giving constantly the inhabitants of Vrindavan great joy, transcendental joy. And they did not have to go anywhere else for any performance or acquiring of the joy because everything was given by Krishna. Happiness, astonishment, courage, fighting, suspense, drama, melodrama, everything Krishna gave them. We want to watch Krishna. We want to watch, you know, suspense movies and TV serials and all these things, you know. But if you just open Bhagavatam and other Vaishnava literatures of Krishna, everything is there in it. So, inhabitants of Vrindavan, how they loved Krishna in rapt attention is the greatest of devotional activities that can be performed by anybody, especially of the gopis. And Krishna purposely performed those activities so that his devotees will be benefited remembering this, and the non devotees will also be benefited by being attracted by this. And hearing from devotees, they'll make devotees their friends. Now, let's move on. I'll read one particular translation. This translation talks about the qualities of God. And the relationship God has with his pure devotees. So, I will read the translation first, okay? Then we'll go to the verse. So, this translation I've divided into 4 different points. First point, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and no end, no exterior and no interior, no front, no rear. In other words, he's all pervading. This is the meaning of all pervading. I'll repeat again. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and no end. This is one point, okay? No exterior and no interior. We have beginning, we have got end with a material body. We have exterior, we have interior also. Our interior, even we don't know. Exterior we can see. So he has no fear, he has no front and no rear. We have front and we have rear also. Our rear, we can't see our rear. But he can. That's what it says. In other words, it says he is all pervading. All pervading. Second point. Because he is not under the influence of the element of time, for him, there is no difference between past, present, and future. He exists in his own transcendental form at all times. This is the meaning where it says that time has no influence in the spiritual world. You see, this is the point to be understood. So when God himself, Krishna himself, is not under the influence of time, that means past, present, and future does not affect him at all. And he exists in his own form, transcendental, which is transcendental at all times. Our forms keep changing, material body. You know this basic thing. So this is the second point of God. First is all pervading. Second, time element doesn't exist, doesn't influence him. Now, third point. Being absolute beyond relativity, he is free from distinctions between cause and effect. Although he is a cause and effect of everything. Like for us, we decide to have a class, then we'll have a class. Cause and effect. There's a need, there's an effect. Always there's a purpose to do something. But for him, there is no cause. There is no cause for creation of God. There is no cause for doing anything for God. He doesn't need to do anything. But he is a cause and effect for everything. This is the third point about God. So first is all pervading. Second, time element doesn't affect him. Third thing is being absolute and beyond relativity. Now, fourth point. That unmanifested person who's beyond the perception of the senses. I would like to repeat these 3 points again and come to the fourth point, which is conclusion. See? Just for our own better understanding and come in the flow. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and no end, no exterior and no interior, no front and no rear. In other words, he is all pervading. Because he is not under the influence of the element of time, for him there is no difference between past, present, and future. He exists in his own transcendental form at all times, being absolute, beyond relativity. He is free from the distinctions between cause and effect. Although he is the cause and effect of everything, that unmanifested person, that unmanifested person who is beyond the perception of the senses, had now appeared as a human child, and Mother Yashoda, considering him her own ordinary child, bound him to the wooden mortar with a rope. How beautiful this is! Wow! It cannot be. The whole philosophy, the whole gigantic philosophy is brought in this one verse. And the last sentence is so pure. So that unmanifested person, Adokshaja, that unmanifested person who cannot be controlled by anything, who's beyond the perception of the senses, had now appeared as a human child. And Mother Yashoda, considering him her own ordinary child, bound him to the wooden mortar with a rope. This will be a good starting point for us. Huh? Now let us come to the verse now. So this particular translation is made up of two different verses. Na chanta na bahir yasya na purvam na pichaparam purva param bahischantar jagato yo jagat chayah tam matvatmajam avyaktam martyalingam adhokshajam gopikalukhale damna bandhana prakrutam yatha. Very nice. So here, na chantar na bahir yasya. So na cha antar na bahir yasya. So neither interior nor exterior. Na purvam na pichaparam. So na purvam, not beginning, nor even end. Cha aparam. Aparam means end. Purvam bahis chantar. So purva, aparam, the beginning and the end. Bahis chanta, external and internal. Bahihi cha antaha. Bahischanta. The external and the internal. Jagato yo jagat chayaha. So the whole cosmic manifestation, jagat chayaha, and who's everything in creation in total. Tam matvatmajam avyaktam. See here, beautiful. So for him, considering Atmajam, her own son, avyaktam, unmanifested, martyalingam adhokshajam. See, martyalingam means, martya means death, and lingam means body. So that body which dies is called martyalingam. And this is referred to human being. The Lord appearing as a human being. You see, even demigod's body is not considered martyalingam. Many times demigods are also called amartya, means one who don't die. Now we know they die, but their lifespan is so big that they are called amartya. See? And we are called martya. Okay? So we understood this point. Martya lingam adhokshajam. So that martya lingam, that he has come as an appearing as a human being. Adhokshajam, who's beyond sense perception. Babandha prakrutam yatha. So babandha means bound. Prakrutam, as done to the common child. Gopika, Gopiko, Lu, Khale, Damna. So Gopika, here considered as Mother Yashoda. Ulu Khale, to the grinding mortar. Damna, by a rope. Bandhana Prakrutim Yatha, is bounding him. as done to a common human child. So, once again, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and no end, no exterior and no interior, no front and no rear. In other words, he is all pervading. Because he is not under the influence of the element of time, for him, there is no difference between past, present, and future. He exists in his own transcendental form at all times. Being absolute, beyond relativity, he is free from distinctions between cause and effect. Although he is the cause and effect of everything, that unmanifested person, who is beyond the concept perception of senses, has now appeared as a human child. And Mother Yashoda, considering him her own ordinary child, bound him to the wooden mortar with a rope. Now, see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is described and he mentions as in the 10th chapter 12 verse, Param Brahma Param Dhamna Dhamma. See the word Param, the Brahma means the greatest. Krishna is greater than the greatest, being unlimited and all pervading. How can it be possible for the all pervading to be measured and bound? See, when you're binding somebody, when you're tying up something, you have to measure the person or thing. How much rope will be needed? How much plastic will be needed? Is this mortar enough, wooden mortar or not? So you have to measure all these things. So how can you measure and bound something which is unmeasurable? Then point number two, then again, Krishna is the time factor. Therefore, he is all pervading, not only in space, but also in time. You cannot capture him. Because he doesn't have past, present, future doesn't affect him. He's living in his present all the time, in his transcendence. We have measurements of time, but although we are limited by past, present, and future, for Krishna, these do not exist. Every individual person can be measured, you see. But Krishna has already shown here that although he is also also an individual, the entire cosmic manifestation is within his mouth. And there was a small mouth. He showed, yeah, he showed this whole manifestation in his small mouth. How can you measure him? All these points considered, we can assume that Krishna cannot be measured. We can very safely conclude. How then did Mother Yashoda want to measure him and bind him? Yeah, we must conclude that this took place simply on the platform of pure transcendental love. That was only cause. There was no other cause. This is a point to be understood. There is no way that this Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all this, timeless, all pervading, completely absolute, he cannot be bound. He was bound only out of pure transcendental love. That is only cause. There is no cause for God to do anything. Only pure transcendental love. You see, concluding this point, and we'll conclude the discussion of today, the Brahma Samhita, this particular verse, 533, Advaita Machuta Madadim Ananta Rupam Adhyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu durlabha madurlabha atma bhakto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So first point, everything is one because Krishna is the supreme cause of everything. So there is no two causes. So everything is one. In a way, we are also Krishna. The body, material body which dies is also Krishna. Our spirit soul is also Krishna. Material world is Krishna. You and me are different, but we also came from the one Krishna, you see. But we remain eternally separate. That's right. But the cause is one. Everything is one because Krishna is the supreme cause of everything. Second, Krishna cannot be measured or calculated by Vedic knowledge. Vede Shudurlabha Madurlabha Mahatma Bhakta. So don't try to measure Krishna. He cannot be measured nor calculated by Vedic knowledge. He is available only to devotees. This is the third point which is important here. Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. See, Vedeshu Durlabham. It cannot be calculated by Vedas or measured by Vedas. Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. But is available only to devotees. There's a meaning. Fourth point is devotees can handle him. Because they act on the basis of loving service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Yavan yes chasmi tatvataha. Handling. Devotees can handle him. Because they act on the basis of loving service. You see, even Lord Brahma, who's the creator of this universe, he is also called the supreme personality of this universe. He has personally seen so many Vishnus in his life. Right now, Brahma's 51st year is going on. Now we know in his one day, 14 Indras come and go, with 14 Manus come and go. And each Manvantara is an avatar incarnation, Krishna and Vishnu's incarnation. So imagine how many incarnations Lord Brahma must have seen. In one day, there are 14 Manus and Manvantara avatars. Such a great personality. In the 51st year he is in now. He also tried to control Krishna, handle Krishna. I'll handle him. So, who's this? Who's this personality? Why? What is this going on? So as he took the boys, cowherd boys, kidnapped them, made them into his yoga maya sleeping, he placed them and came back again. So he took them, put them somewhere, and came back again. Immediately he came back. And he saw they were not moved. So they are there. He was astonished because he knew about his power. He was very confident about his power. He said, I took out these people, all these cows, calves, and cowherd boys. So cowherd boys, their cows, and their cows. He pulled out all of them, took them away, put them in Yoga Nidra, and he came back and he saw they were still there. This bewildered him. He was astonished. It is said that he was so shocked. His four heads, he could not understand what was going on and he could not see things. He became blind. Because he was so powerful. He said, who can be more powerful than me? What is going on here? At that point in time, Krishna, realizing the importance of Lord Brahma, without further putting in bewilderment, he made him remove the yoga maya from him. And through the internal potency he showed, he revealed that all these boys and cows, they were all Vishnu Murtis. Anyway, that's another point for discussion, another camp classes. But there's one point here I wanted to share. So don't Krishna needs to be handled with care properly. And only devotees can handle him, Prabhupada writes. because they act on the basis of loving devotional service. You see? Now, what do you mean by this? You see, I'll tell you what. When Krishna, as I said, Krishna drank milk from Mother Yashoda and also from other elder gopis. All his Vrindavan is his playground. He does whatever he wants to do. Everybody loves him. Now, what happens is this, that the gopis and the gopas, others, they also have their children, the cowherd boys, friends of Krishna. But they loved Krishna more than their children. So when Brahma took away the cowherd boys and the cows, and Krishna himself became them, manifested them. So when Brahma went and came back, he just came back in a second. And he was bewildered by these things. But that Brahma's time was here 1 year in earthly times. So when Krishna became all this, suddenly when they went back to their homes, all the gopas and gopis, the parents, they felt the same love they were experiencing with Krishna, which was far superior to the love they were experiencing than their own children. They loved him more. Now they realized, they felt that they are loving the children the same way as they were loving Krishna. They were astonished by this. How is this? Even the cows were loving their calves more than what they were before because they loved Krishna so much. And now Krishna has become them. So they were also bewildered. Everybody was bewildered. Even Lord Brahma was bewildered. Even Balaram was bewildered. Till the year end, few days before, he got to know. How he got to know is a point of discussion later on. But everyone was bewildered because they loved Krishna so much and they're now loving the children as much as Krishna. You see? So this is the point, that devotees can handle him because they act on the basis of loving service. This is the intensity of their love. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yashasmi tatvataha. Thus, Mother Yashoda wanted to bind him, Krishna. Hare Krishna. With this, we conclude our first introduction point of Damodara Lila pastimes. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. See anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your very nice discourse on this point. I think I learned many new points, Prabhuji. I think, yeah, I never thought actually the philosophy would be this deep. I thought we know Lord Damodar's pastime, but I think you are explaining in the greater detail, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. I just have one question, Prabhuji. Can I ask?
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, when you describe the Lord Krishna's qualities, where there's one of the points that you mentioned that he is not under the influence of time. So I was actually thinking on that point, Prabhuji, is the time element exist in a spiritual world?
See, time is an expression only in the material world.
Yes. So it is not in the spiritual world at all, the time.
The influence of time is not existing at all.
Because I was thinking, Prabhuji, because everything coming from the spiritual world in one way, isn't it, from Krishna?
Yeah.
We say that everything that we see in material world should be in the spiritual world as well in pure form.
Yeah.
Actually, I just try to understand that point. How is that
Yes.
spiritual world?
Time, just like um, for creation, time element is needed. For non-creation, time element is not needed. To maintain something, time element is needed. To destroy something, time element is needed. But when something remains eternally, there is no need for time. The duality comes because of time. Day and night, old age, young age, love and hate. Samay bada balwan. But there it doesn't exist at all. It doesn't exist at all. So we cannot fathom this point. You see, element of time has no influence in the spiritual world. Element of time has no influence even in the material world. I'll prove to you. You have grown now, whatever your age is, 38, 40, 35, whatever your age is. But from the heart, inside, you feel still very young, is it not so?
Yes, yes, we feel Prabhuji. Yeah. That is because of
Even
spirit
for,
soul.
that's right. So the time element has got no influence towards inner spirit soul also. Your body is like this. Maharaj, as I told you once before, Maharaj used to tell me that Ambrish, I know I can see so many things to be done. What to do? My legs are not moving now. See, I feel so young inside. The body is old. What can be done? So this is the point here. As long as we are involved in Krishna's activities, even with this material body, the body will be all right. The old age, disease, all those things will come as per the nature of the body. Everything has a nature. But time element has no influence in the spiritual world. It exists, it is created when in the second canto it is mentioned, second, third canto. When time elements is put in the creation, that is when the three modes of material energy starts to agitate things. The living beings are then agitated. The in Mahavishnu's body, then Mahat Tattva. That's how things will start to move. When Krishna sees through his eyes in the Mahat Tattva, that's when all the living beings, he impregnates them through the eyes. Mahavishnu. You see? So from his body, the Mahat Tattva is created, and all the living beings, he impregnates them with his eyes. Okay? And with it, then the time elements are going in. That's the modes are then agitated inside the Mahat Tattva. Till the time, there is no time inside his body. That's why one can live, those living beings, all living beings, we live in his body, for millions of years, lying dormant. But we carry on with our own past karmas and desires. That's why when we agitate again to be born again, we are reawakened to our past desires, and based upon it, we get our bodies. So time element is not existing in the spiritual world because there is no need for it. It exists there, but without the influence. Everything in the material world exists in the spiritual world. Yes, that's right. But there is no influence of it. Influence is only in the material world when there is body. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, yes, understand. Yeah, that's why I
If the
wanted to
spirit
clarify
soul,
this.
yeah, if the spirit soul does not have the body, the time element will not affect you. Similarly, when we have our houses or cars, when we buy it is brand new, as time goes by, it becomes old and decays. Because the element is there, earth, water, fire, ether, which time can influence. Yeah. So time factor exists in the spiritual world, but it has got no influence. That's what I read once. It is used only in the material world. It'll become more clear as we study more, you know.
Yes, Prabhuji. I think, yeah. I think that was clarified. It exists but has no influence in spiritual,
Yes.
influence in material. So, because I was thinking, yeah, how Krishna perform the Ashtakaliya Lila in a spiritual world if there is no time. So,
Yes, that's so many things. Krishna can also, he's in the baby form also there. And he's in form of his young now Yavanam also there. How do you relate to that? We cannot try to understand this without tiny brains, you know,
yes.
material brain. These all have to relate together, no? Be together. There's only one Golok Vrindavan. And that's why there is Kalpataru trees there in Vrindavan, where your desires are fulfilled. They also don't have an influence of time. Only then the desires can be fulfilled, no? Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji, for explaining.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Ambrish Prabhu. Thank you very much for your nice class and so much information. Yeah, I was thinking on the same line that as you explained that Krishna's childhood pastimes are very easy to hear and very attractive. So they they exist in Golok Vrindavan, like in spiritual world, like here 5,000 years ago. They are eternal. So as you said that Krishna exists in baby form in Golok Vrindavan and Navayoganam as well. So I was thinking that also that is these childhood pastimes they eternally exist in the spiritual realm as well.
No, this question you are raising because I that point.
When the time element, yeah, when this question came, yes.
Yeah, no. If you are going to ask this question, let it come from you and your realization, not because I said something and you make to think. Because you gave yourself only 2 minutes to think. I don't like it.
Okay.
You give many hours of thinking and study and research, then you ask a question.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Any or what we discuss, if you have anything on the topic, that you will please feel free to ask.
That another point I was thinking, probably the reference you were giving, the what lifestyle the Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj in previous life adopted, that we should be thinking on that. So is that will come further, like in next classes, or something more reference on that, or is just the one point of?
Yeah, this is the point, where they were constantly thinking about Krishna, because Krishna was living in their house, What I was saying was that because Krishna is a child, as a child lived in their house and showed all the pastimes, they were completely absorbed in their life. Yeah, thinking about Krishna only. And because of that, it has been documented, so we can think like this, reading it. It's for our benefit. Just like other Gopas and the Gopis living in the same Vrindavan, Krishna was not living with them, but Krishna would play with them and steal butter from them. That's right. But they also heard from Krishna and saw Krishna doing activities, you see. And now that is documented now. So that we can read and study and meditate upon. And in the mind we can think as we chant, as we perform activities. This is how. This is exactly how the gopis and the gopas they would do. So their normal activities when they perform, when they were performing like busy chores of their household, washing, cleaning, making butter and all that, they would constantly glorify Krishna. So they would make songs of Krishna, his activities, his pastimes. When they moved from Gokul to Nandagaon, when they're traveling, yeah, so everybody was singing Krishna and Balaram's pastimes there, of what they were doing there. So they made those lyrics, those poetries themselves, or through professional reciters who would then make for them, write for them. And they would recite. This is what Krishna did, this is how they did, And same thing is in our bhajans and kirtans. That's the meaning of it.
Yes. So it's yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, so it means like we're taking the so but they are nitya mukta souls, not conditioned souls. So
anyone who's with Krishna is Nitya Mukta. Even conditioned souls can become Nitya Mukta.
yes.
Otherwise, you cannot be with Krishna.
So we have to like take the example or practice.
Yes. That is the meaning of Vrindavan Lila. That is the point. That depending upon Raga Anuga Bhakti. So Raga Bhakti and Anuga Bhakti means following that particular rag, we must perform bhakti. Following the mood of the previous, those associates of Krishna who have served Krishna, we can follow, we have to follow, understand them, follow them, and follow in their footsteps to perform perfect our bhakti.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, so that is the purpose behind our these discussions. That we get a little bit of information, a bit more about this, but very carefully. Because I'm not qualified myself, and we should not be promoting this to anybody. This is only for people who are our leaders in Hare Krishna WECAN, only for us, So that our bhakti, our chanting improves, Bhajan Kriya. Please don't share this with any one of your devotees now. I also am talking to you after so many years, yeah?
Yes.
And neither am I very qualified. Please understand this point too. You're very neophyte. Okay? But this is the point, we should begin with it. Is this okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Okay, Avinash, can you please stop the recording now? Thank you very much. So there's no more questions. We will continue.